Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another live stream by China Admissions. This is Saskia here, and we are live on Instagram and on YouTube at the same time. And if you are wanting to watch this again or recommend it to someone to watch, it will be saved on our YouTube channel and on our Instagram. So you'll be able to watch that. And you're also able to watch all of our previous live streams that we've done. They're also saved on our Instagram and on our YouTube channel. So you can go and check that out. So today's topic is applying for the 2024 intake and also the common mistakes that students make while applying. So a lot of people might think, wow, 2024 intake, the 2023 intake hasn't even started yet. Why should I be thinking about that? Well, that's because September is a mere 2.5 months away from now, actually less than 2.5 months away from now. And that means that the 2023 deadlines for applying have mostly passed. That means that if you were thinking about getting accepted and getting your paperwork processed and going to study in China for the September intake, it's a bit late now. We have a couple of programs available. I know a lot of people are asking about Chinese language programs. We have 2 or 3 that are still available, though you won't be starting in September. You'll be starting a bit later on. So you'll be starting in October or November. So just keep that in mind. There are a couple of programs that you can apply to. There are about 3 different bachelor's MBBS programs, Bachelor of Medicine programs that you can still apply to. But overall, there's not a lot of programs available. The majority of them have passed. So if you're looking at applying for any year, and you're wanting to enter the September intake, most of the deadlines are going to be around May. Some of the deadlines for programs that are in Tsinghua, Peking, Fudan might actually be in February or March. So you definitely have to start thinking about applying for those. If you can even start applying now if you want to apply for the 2024 intake of those programs at Tsinghua and Fudan and Peking. And then also, if you want to apply for the 2024 March intake, you can start applying now already. So not a lot of programs have a March intake. There are some universities that have a March intake. Guangzhou Medical University, for example, has a March MBBS intake. But a lot of people are interested in taking a Chinese language program, a 1 semester or 1 year Chinese language program. And especially for people that study in the Southern Hemisphere, like me, I came from South Africa. Our school year ends in December, so we graduate in December. And I had 6 months to kill in between starting my degree, and I decided to do a Chinese language program. So there are quite a lot of Chinese language programs you can apply to. So you can start that process now already. So if you are interested in applying for 2024 and applying for the March intake, we do encourage you to apply now already, to apply as soon as possible. Okay. And then we're going to talk a bit about the common mistakes that people make when applying and what you can do to avoid them. Okay. I have a question here from AJ asking about job opportunities after graduating for international students. So this is going to be completely dependent on your situation, the degree that you studied, your GPA, and your own skills that you have acquired while you're in China, the internship that you have done, and the university that you have gone to. So obviously, this is not a very easy question to answer, and that is something that you're going to have to think about for yourself. However, when you are going to China to study, it does give you quite a lot of extra job opportunities. And right now, especially, since China has opened up, there are a lot more job opportunities available. So keep in mind that your job opportunities are going to be what you make of them. So you can't just get a lot of job opportunities just because you went to China to study. You still have to get good grades. You should still try to get into a good university and try very hard and work very hard and get a good internship. But you will definitely have a lot of job opportunities after that. Okay, great. Okay, so we see here that people are asking about the Chinese language program and the link to apply for it. So yes, underneath this video, you'll be able to apply there, but you can also just go look up on China admissions. You can Google China admissions, go to our if you're here on our live stream on YouTube, you can check out our other videos. We've got our links there as well. And you can also just Google China admissions and you'll be able to apply for the program you want to apply for. If it's not there, please just email us and we will be able to add it for you or check to see if it's available or not. So without further ado, let's look into the common mistakes that students make when applying for a program. Let me take out my list here. Okay, so the number one mistake that international students make when applying is doing insufficient research on the programs and on the university that they want to apply for. So you do need to do some kind of research. You need to make sure that this university and this program is a good fit for you, and also very important that you actually meet the admission requirements. We get a lot of emails and people asking us if they can apply to Chinese universities if they have a very low GPA. Please don't make the assumption that because the university is in China that it's going to be a lower quality degree and you don't have to have very high requirements and very high grades in order to get accepted. A lot of these universities are extremely prestigious and have very high standards. And keep in mind that passing in China is 60%. So if you have underneath 60%, you will definitely not be able to apply for a program in China because you will not have passed your high school degree in their eyes. And then also we recommend applying only if you have over 70% on average or more than a 3.0 GPA out of 4. So please keep that in mind. If you have a very low GPA and you want to apply for a bachelor's program, we recommend applying for a foundation program first. This allows you to basically take your science subjects all over again from high school. It's a 1-year program and it gives you the chance of getting higher grades in order to then apply for a bachelor's program after that. Just keep in mind that when you do the foundation program, you still have to study very hard and get higher grades in order to get accepted. If you get very low grades in your foundation program, you will unfortunately not be able to continue studying into a bachelor's program. So that's very important. Your academics are the most important part of studying in China, so make sure that you meet the admission requirements. Then also some universities like Tsinghua and Fudan, they require you to have written your SATs or your ACTs. So if you have not done that, you need to do that, or you can apply for a different university that doesn't require that. Those are the two universities that definitely require it. So you need to be able to have that. You must have your English language certificate in order to apply. So you can't just apply without it. You need to have that. That means you have to have written TOEFL or IELTS, come from one of these 7 English-speaking countries that are recognized by China as English-speaking, or have done your entire education in English and have a letter from the university or the school to prove that you have learned your previous education in English. So also, there are so many universities in China. China is a really big country, and there are so many universities. So please check to see which one is the right pick for you. We have an amazing interview coming out with an international graduate from Southwest University in Chongqing, and she studied Chinese language and literature over there. And for her, studying in Beijing and in Shanghai was unappealing, and it didn't suit her. So she decided to go and study in Chongqing instead. That was the best fit for her, and she is really happy with her choice. So please do research on what will fit you. Think about things like the weather. You're going to have to stay in that program for 4 years. Or 3 years. So if you absolutely hate the cold, then don't go live in the north where it's always snowing. If you hate being in hot, humid weather, don't go move down to Guangdong province because it's going to be hot and very humid for most of the year. So also try and find a climate that you're happy with as well. Okay. So the next mistake that people often make is incomplete or incorrect applications. And this is where China admissions comes in. Why we recommend for you to apply with us is because you have to upload all of your documents to our portal, the China admissions portal, where we will be checking them to make sure that all of your documents are correct. The Chinese universities are extremely strict with how the documents must be presented. And for example, there are things like the background of your photo has to be white. It has to be a professional ID photo. It can't just be a selfie that you've taken. You can't just have a blue background. Things like the language that it's supposed to be presented in. It must be in English or in Chinese, or it has to be translated into one of these languages. Your police clearance has to be correct. All your documents have to be valid. So we check all of that and we make sure that everything is correct, and we let you know if it's incorrect. If your documents are incorrect, or you don't have all of your documents, we will not be submitting your application. We will only be submitting it once all your documents are correct. So please keep that in mind, that we do not want to set you up to fail. We want you to get accepted at the university. So we will be checking your documents, and only once everything is ready will we be able to apply for you to the university. So also, we can't help you apply if you are missing a document and you just want to submit the document later. That's usually not acceptable by the university. Are there any questions so far? Okay, what is the fee used during China admissions to apply? So this depends if you want to have a service package. If you're applying with the basic fee, that means that you can actually just check on our website. It will state the service fee that is there. If it is a non-partner university, then that means that there will be $100 service fee on that. If it is a partner university, there is no service fee, so you will just be paying the application fee. Then we have service packages, which include the application fees to 3 different universities. And this is where we usually recommend it for applying for very competitive programs like MBAs, MBBS, or applying to really highly ranked universities. So you can also go check that out on our website. Okay, the next mistake that students often make is having a poorly written personal statement. So a personal statement will be reflecting your aspirations, your experiences, and your motivation for studying in China. It's usually 1 page long. For a postgraduate degree, it will be about 2 pages long. And if it's very poorly written, then obviously it shows the university that you won't be a competent student, and that you can't write a good essay. So you really do need to have a really good personal statement showing, why do you want to study at this university? Why should this university choose you over the other students that are applying? Why do you want to study this specific program? And why do you want to study in China? So overall, it's quite easy to write, but just make sure that your grammar is correct, have it checked out, and make sure that you write down what exactly they want to know. They want to know why you want to go there. So it's not an extremely difficult thing to do. Don't slack on it. Try to write the best personal statement that you can. And then the next mistake is the lack of language proficiency. So we're going to talk about the lack of English language proficiency and lack of Chinese language proficiency. So in China, you can either go and study at an English taught program or a Chinese taught program. So most international students are applying for English taught programs, and the majority of the programs on China admissions are English taught programs, just because that is what most students are applying for. If you're applying for an English taught program, you must have IELTS, an IELTS certificate, so a valid IELTS or TOEFL certificate, and that means that it was written within 2 years of applying. Or you need to have completed your previous education in English and have a letter from your university or your school stating this, or you need to come from one of these 7 English-speaking countries that are recognized as English-speaking by China. This is the US, the UK, Ireland, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. Those countries are recognized. So if you come from one of those countries, you don't have to have an English language proficiency certificate. If you do not come from one of those countries and your country is English speaking, just make sure to get a letter from your school or university stating your education was taught in English. So it's quite easy. If you're applying for a Chinese taught program, you are going to have an HSK5 certificate, and you need to have over 200 points out of 300 of your HSK in order to be accepted. Keep in mind that it's not very easy to get an HSK5 certificate. We have people asking us often that they want to study Chinese within 1 year. and go from 0 to HSK 5 within 1 year in order to study at Peking or Tsinghua the next year, because a lot of Peking and Tsinghua programs are taught in Chinese. It takes about 4 years to reach that level, 4 years of full intense study. You can possibly do it in 3 years. Just keep in mind it's very, very difficult, and it's something that I have done personally. My entire degree was based on taking HSKs, taking Chinese tests, studying for this. So please keep in mind that it is extremely difficult. So we do recommend, if you do not have any level of Chinese, any Chinese level, we recommend, if you're going to apply for a degree program, to apply for an English taught program. You will still take Chinese classes. That will be part of the experience of studying in China. So you will be taking Chinese classes as well. And some universities will require you to still write an HSK 3 by the time that you graduate from your 4-year bachelor's. So that is also a great way of having the best of both worlds. So that is what we recommend. If you have already got an HSK 5 level, then that's great. You can definitely apply. Just keep in mind that your HSK is only valid for 2 years. So if you've had it for more than 2 years, you need to rewrite it. Okay. Oh, another big one, missing deadlines. That's another big mistake we have with students. So please, 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 if you have a specific university, a dream university that you want to apply for next year, please check the deadline and please apply with enough time available. So a lot of our programs deadlines are in May 30th. So please just check and prepare well in advance. In some countries, you need to apply for police clearance, and that might take several months. Or you need to apply for certain documents, and that might take longer than usual. So if you realize you've only got a week left and you start applying for everything and you realize it's not going to be on time, there's unfortunately nothing that we as China Admissions can do to extend that deadline. If you do not make the deadline, then you cannot apply. That is the main thing. So please make sure to apply well in advance, send in your documents well in advance, complete everything in advance. And it also gives you the best chance of getting accepted. So yes, just check your deadlines and make sure that you apply with enough time. Please don't do a last minute application, as we usually do not accept last minute applications within 10 working days of the deadline, or 7 working days of the deadline, or 10 days, just because we need to make sure that we can get everyone's applications in on time. Let's see if there are any more questions over here. We have quite a couple questions on YouTube. Okay, so it says here, this is Sung Zin, who applied for a 1-year language program at your university. May I know what I'm about? I'm seeking admission at your university. When will I get your calling letters, your applicant? So just keep in mind, we are not a university. We are an agent. So we'll help you apply to a university. So if you have submitted your documents to a university already without the help of China Admissions, there's not that much that we can do to check your application. If there's a major complication, we possibly can check it. But if you've applied directly to the university, please contact the university directly as well, asking about your application. If you have applied through China Admissions and we've already submitted your application, it's going to take about a month to get an answer. It might take less than that, especially because people are applying. You need to get your documents and you need to apply for your visa as soon as possible. So the answers are coming back a bit sooner. But we do have people asking us a couple days after the application has been submitted. It's going to take a little bit longer than that. So just check at about 2 weeks. You can check up again with us and with the university to see what your answer is. If I'm going to take Chinese language program, will the lesson of the language be in English? And after I finish the program, will I still need HSK? Very good question. If you're applying for the beginner part, the beginner stages of a Chinese language program, because there are many, many, many different classes, in the beginner stages, it's taught in English, and they will be explaining certain words to you, how the pronunciation works, etc. So that will be in English. a couple of classes in, or a couple of, if you've done 2 or 3 semesters, everything will be switched to Chinese because your level will be high enough to understand them in Chinese. So then everything will be in Chinese. That program is a 6-month program or a 1-year program. It does not include an HSK certificate, and it does not replace the HSK certificate. And the HSK certificate is an international qualification that shows your level of Chinese. So taking a course in a university, you will get a certificate from the university saying that you've completed that course, but it doesn't replace the HSK. If you've done that course, you still need to take the HSK test if you want to get accepted into a university with a certain HSK level. So you will still need to write that. A lot of those universities will help you with applying for the HSK, and they might even have an exam center on campus as well. So it's not very difficult to do. It's not very expensive at all, and they have them every month. So just check with your teachers on campus about applying for the HSK test. Okay, now let's go back to the mistakes that some people will make. Okay, inadequate recommendation letters. This is another big thing. If you are applying for a degree program, you are going to need recommendation letters. We have people that are very surprised by the fact that they might need recommendation letters, but your recommendation letters have to be academic recommendation letters, not professional ones, not working recommendation letters. This is because you're applying for an academic position, so therefore they would like recommendation letter from your teachers. So if you're in high school currently and you're applying for next year, ask your current English teachers or language teachers or any teacher that you have a great relationship with for a recommendation letter. Get 2 recommendation letters, as this is what is usually needed. So get 2 recommendation letters, and you can use this when you're applying later on. Please keep in mind that your recommendation letter has to either be in English or Chinese. So if it's written in another language, you need to have it professionally translated into English or Chinese. So please make sure that you have that. If you don't have recommendation letters, then you're going to have a bit of an issue because it's one of the required necessary documents in order to apply. So make sure that you get 2 recommendation letters. A lot of people seem extremely scared about asking for recommendation letters. It's completely fine, even if you've graduated for a couple of years. It's completely normal to ask for them. Contact your high school, contact your university, and they will be able to provide one very quickly. Then a lack of preparation for interviews. Some universities will require interviews before you can get accepted. So this will be at the final stages of your application. Not all universities will require this, but some high-level universities and some very competitive programs like for MBBS and MBA will require them. And it is also to see your language level and to see if you can fully comprehend the questions that they're asking you, etc. So it's not going to be very difficult, but we do recommend preparing for them. Please, if you have received the date for your interview, please show up on time. If you are not on time or if you miss that, you might not be able to reschedule it and you'll be immediately disqualified or rejected from applying. So this is very important. It's a very serious thing. Please make sure that you show up for your interview on time and that you have prepared as well, so that you have good responses. You can look up common questions that will be asked, or you can also get our interview preparation service that we have as well. We can train you for your interview. And then ignoring visa and immigration requirements. Now, this is something that we can't give too much guidance on, as we don't really help with the visa process or the immigration process. But just make sure that when you are applying for your visa documents, that you have all the documents necessary to apply for it. Check on your Chinese application, the Chinese application center close by to you on their website to see what documents are needed. And please make sure to comply to those requirements. And then also neglecting scholarship opportunities. This one, I'm going to add a little bit of a caveat. Even though there are scholarship opportunities when applying, please also be quite realistic with these scholarship opportunities. We get quite a lot of emails asking for scholarships. We don't assist with scholarship applications. So, but there are scholarships available. Just keep in mind that for medical programs and English taught bachelor programs, and MBA programs, the CSC, the Chinese government scholarship, does not cover those. So keep that in mind. They do not cover them. For medical programs, there's really not a lot of scholarships available. So what we recommend is check on the university website to see what internal scholarships they have available. If they have a university scholarship, an entry scholarship, anything like that, to see what kind of scholarships they have available, and provincial scholarships as well. That will usually also be on the website for the university that you're applying to. Yes, just make sure you know what all your options are, and apply if it is applicable for you. But also keep in mind that if you're applying and you get accepted, the reason why we don't accept scholarship students is that you still need to prove that you can self-fund if you do not get the scholarship. So that's one thing that we require. We can help you to submit the application and tell the teachers that you're interested in the scholarship. But if you get accepted and cannot afford to go without the scholarship, we will not be recommending you to apply to a very expensive university then, or making sure to apply to a university that you can afford as a self-funding student, just in case you don't get the scholarship. Okay, and the interview is conducted online or at the campus. The interview will be conducted online. So even if you are applying from inside of China, it will be online still. This is the easiest for everyone in the situation, to have an online interview. Any other questions, please be sure to leave them down below. We don't seem to really have any questions on Instagram. We've had quite a couple here on YouTube, and that's great to see that everyone's interested. So again, if you're interested in applying for the 2024 intake, please go and check that out. And yeah, thank you guys so much for joining today's live stream. It's going to be saved on our YouTube channel and on our Instagram, where you can also see all of our other live streams as well. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next week for another live stream.